go for MotoE in 2025. A title race that is well and truly alight now arrives to the Catalan capital of Barcelona in northern Spain. A historic venue, the circuit of Barcelona-Catalunya welcomes MotoE, and with it, you can be sure of an electric atmosphere throughout the weekend. Good afternoon and welcome to qualifying for MotoE here trackside in Barcelona. You're in the company of myself, Kiko Giles. Neil Morrison is alongside me, and somewhere in pit lane getting all of the stories, Elliot York. We've had 4 rounds, 3 pole sitters, 5 winners, 11 podium finishers, and at least for me, countless hold your breath moments. Neil, we can't ask for much more, but we don't need to because we're going to get it anyway.
We are indeed, Kiko. Countless hold your breath moments, not least when you first walked into the commentary booth with me at the start of the year. But
you know it.
It's just gone from strength to strength from there, hasn't it? After a dramatic round in Hungary, we're back again 2 weeks later, and the MotoE rounds are coming thick and fast at this point of the season. We're at round absolutely crucial in deciding who will be the champion of MotoE in 2025.
It is. We are into the second half of 2025. That means that you've dealt with me for half a season, just half more to go. Qualifying, it is coming up. Qualifying 1 it is first, though. You can see the names on the right-hand side of your screen who are already through, and there's some heavy hitters going through this Q1. Not to mention the likes of Andrea Mantovani, who up until last round was your championship leader, reigning champion Hector Garzo. Jacobo Hosjuk has already graduated from Q1 before. Tibor Eric Varga likewise. Good to see him back, by the way, the number 47 after his accident on home soil last time out. But Alessio Finello it was, who only just missed out earlier on, Neil. So we could be in for a jumbled up Q2, depending on who graduates.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you saw in that list, a couple of big hitters, a couple of surprise names in this Q1 session. We've had a couple of top-heavy Q1 sessions of late, haven't we, in MotoE in the last couple of weeks? You can see Hector Garzo, the reigning champion, has had a far from straightforward title defence, and he'll be coming through this session, he hopes at least. And hardly surprising to see Garzo getting up to speed a little slower than usual after he had a really complicated pre-season test here when he crashed out in the first session, which actually put him out of the rest of the test. We're just seeing on our screens there, we might have a slightly delayed start. We're not exactly sure why that is, but more information when we get it.
I just wonder if that's because of Enea Bastianini's turn 2 fall there at the end of practice in MotoGP. The bike did reach the air fence and it did go on top of it, so I just wonder that maybe they just need to check something over. Nonetheless, safety paramount, and we're willing to do a little bit of filling up here in commentary. And I tell you what, because he's just come in our headset to welcome himself to us, Elliot York down in pit lane. El, hello.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Yeah, I'm going to try and find out what the delay is for, but I did see the Ertz guys come through and just said, yeah, just a 5-minute delay, so we should be underway pretty soon. But good afternoon. It's pretty warm down here, got to say, and yeah, excited to see how this one plays out, gentlemen.
It is lovely outside, isn't it? What a day to go racing. I'll tell you what day for commentating as well. It's a balmy 16 degrees in air conditioning up here in commentary, Neil. I think we've definitely got the better one, the better deal out of that. Poor old El's going to be. It's a big old pit lane here in Barcelona, so he's going to be getting those steps in, doing a bit of walking.
Yeah, absolutely. There you can see the MotoE grid primed and ready for these qualifying sessions coming up. Just a slight delay, a little hiccup along the way. And there we have kiss cam. Not often that we see that in MotoGP, but always a pleasure to see fans enjoying themselves. That'll make a nice selfie as well.
I hope they're really together. I hope he's not a CEO of a company or anything like that. That would be very unfortunate. Didn't look like it though, he embraced it. You can see new schedule MotoE pit lane opens at 25 past the hour, so that's only a 5-minute delay. That's something we can deal with. So in about 5.5 minutes we'll be ready to go here in MotoE. I can tell you it has been confirmed that Enea Bastianini's fall at the end of practice in MotoGP has caused this delay. Whether or not they need to change anything down there or not remains to be seen, but it is due to that accident. So just checking over a couple of things. El, you've got more.
yeah, just speaking to the IRTA officials, they just had trouble clearing the bike, as we saw in MotoGP. It ended up on top of the fence, and they just had a little bit of trouble removing it from where it was. I'm told that that is cleared now, so I think we're going to be underway pretty shortly indeed. No air fence issues to worry about. So yeah, it was Bastianini's stricken motorcycle that was the issue for the slight delay.
Yeah, I can tell you that Jack Gorster, the MotoE race director, has just confirmed that it is to recover Enea Bastianini's bike. So, of course, as we say, safety paramount, and to make sure that everything's ready and ship-shape and tiddly-tidy, we just have to have a 5-minute delay for MotoE. We're looking at Luca Bernardi. He was in the top 10 back in the opening round of the season, but besides that, Neil, it's been a bit of a struggle for the San Marinese. He has not been here in Catalunya, despite his success in World Supersport 4 years ago. He got injured, couldn't come to this one, so it's a whole new exploratory weekend, let's say, for the number 19.
Yeah, most certainly is. Luca Bernardi not had the easiest of adaptations to MotoE in 2025. He's had just one top 10 finish so far in the first 4 rounds of the season. We spoke a little bit about Hector Garzo appearing in this Q1 session. One other name that stands out is the rider that was leading the championship going into Hungary. Andrea Mantovani is making a bit of a unwelcome habit, isn't he, of these Q1 sessions, appearing in them and almost being on the back foot as soon as the weekend has got underway. But Mantovani really struggling to recapture that form that we saw in the first 2 rounds of the season, which helped him lead the championship coming into Hungary, but the form has deserted them somewhat. The number 9, another big 10-minute session coming up here in Q1.
Yeah, Mantovani, the form in the first half of the season, definitely not carrying through into the second half of the season, or at least not the last 2 rounds, of course. He has had to come through Q1 before and has done so and gone on to achieve decent results. But for Mantovani, you do think that perhaps he capitalised on everyone else having a slow start to the season, Neil, and now everyone's in their groove and got going and has got the rhythm all sorted out. Perhaps Mantovani, coinciding with that, has also dropped off the boil, but isn't one of the absolute strongest riders when you've got Mattia Casadei, who's thrown away 50 points from race winning positions and still leads the title.
Yeah, absolutely. There is confirmation that we have just over 2 minutes until pit lane opens, and Andrea Mantovani is the lone representative from the Clint Ford factory team this weekend. We are missing Maria Herrera, aren't we, Kiko?
We are. That's because that if things do go her way, she can be world champion for the first time in her career in the World WCR Championship. So while she's not here, we do wish her the best of luck and hope to see her next time out in Misano, maybe with a couple of extra trophies from Magny-Cours in France. Of course, World WCR, it's alongside the World Superbike paddock. And yes, we are MotoGP here in Barcelona, but World Superbikes at Magny-Cours this weekend. Their title fight is absolutely on fire between Toprak and Nicolo Buligas. So when you've got a spare moment in this, what is a bumper weekend of motorsport, Formula 1 as well in Monza. We've got a bit of BSB action as well over in the British Isles. When you've got some spare time, check in on World Superbike. You don't want to miss it, and particularly follow the World WCR Series and Maria Herrera. We are just over 60 seconds away from going, if you're just joining us, and we're expecting some red-hot lap times. Just had a small delay following on from Enea Bastianini's fall at the end of practice in MotoGP. Enea's all okay, it's just to retrieve the bike safely and efficiently. So just a few more minutes added on just to get the nerves going a little bit more in pit lane.
Yeah, absolutely. Not long away is the start now. One other name to watch out for in this Q1 session coming up. In fact, there's a couple of others, but Oscar Gutierrez is another name that stands out. He had a brilliant round here at the circuit Barcelona-Catalunya last year. Gutierrez won the first race and finished in second in race 2, so he has some real pedigree around this track, his home track as well.
This is Hector Garzo, who really could have done without coming through this session, Neil. Garzo, it's not been the ideal title defence, has it? And it actually all started to unravel here because of his injury in the test.
Yeah, exactly. Got off to the worst possible start as the riders finally are able to leave pit lane. And we can get this Q1 session underway. But yeah, as you mentioned, Kiko, it was the worst possible start. You just feel that Garzo's been on the back foot ever since then. He also crashed out on the first lap, or one of the first laps of running at the French Grand Prix, the first round of this year. next World Championship.
Practice, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, that was just a kind of another injury on top of an injury, and it's been tricky to come back from there. However, he has found some consistency. The last 5 results have all been inside the top 7, but not quite at the level of winning races just yet.
Not yet, but he has had a couple of decent outings back at the Red Bull Ring. Of course, Hungary was all new for everyone, but can confirm we are out and looking to try and get some lap times in. Alessio Finello, Oscar Gutierrez, Hector Garzo, Jacopo Hosjuk, Andrea Mantovani, Luca Bernardi, Tibor Varga, Tommaso Occhi and Raffaele Fusco are your riders who will be coming through to go through Q1. Only 2 of them can make it.
Yep, absolutely. And anyone that was tuned in and watching race 1 from Balaton Park in Hungary 2 weeks ago will be maybe a little surprised, relieved even, to see the number 47 of Tibor Erik Varga out in this session. I mean, I have to say, a fairly remarkable turnaround after what was it, a terrifying first lap crash for the home star in Hungary. But he's here, he's back out on track. And you had the chance to catch up with him yesterday, Kiko. What did he have to say?
I did. The first thing I said to him was I do apologise for cursing you, because on Thursdays, of course, in the MotoE paddock, we do inside the E paddock, and it was his home round, and after his best results of the season in Austria, we thought we'd go and catch up with Tibor. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be in race 1, as Neil said, but it was explaining that his arm was the main thing that was hit, and that he's got a little bit of bruising and he's still plastered up. But the big scare was actually that it was Eric Granado who had hit Tibor Erik Varga before Mattia Castellet had to avoid him, and the brake disc had actually just scraped across the top of Tibor Erik Varga's helmet, which was quite scary for him to be talking about that. But Tibor Erik Varga hasn't watched the crash back, doesn't want to relive that moment, and I don't blame him, because it was a scary old incident. But as you said, Neil, unbelievable. He was back at the track later that day, had to pass the medical check to come here to Barcelona and to compete here. He's done that, he's out there, but remarkable that his injuries were nowhere near as bad as what could have been and what we first thought, having seen the crash.
Yeah, what we first feared, being completely honest, because it was one of those incidents that no matter which track it happens on around the world, it's probably one of those moments that just makes you hold your breath. He had a huge high side coming out of the final chicane, and basically on the first lap he was second at that moment. Whole field of bikes behind him trying to avoid him and make sure they don't hit him from behind, and he was so fortunate to not be collected in a more substantial and scary way. So we're absolutely delighted that he was okay after that crash, and just fantastic to see him back on track. Don't be surprised if he isn't quite showing the speed that we saw prior to that incident here this weekend. He's obviously refinding his confidence and refinding his speed somewhat, but just a pleasure to have the number 47 of Tibor Erik Varga back on track here.
Yeah, and such a shame about the crash, because it really did stymie some momentum that he'd been building from Austria, then into Hungary for his home round. He led into turn 1, which was one of the highlights of the entire weekend for the Hungarian fans, the 80,000 that did turn out. So Tibor Erik Varga, the pace is there. He might just need to reboost and reset a little bit before he goes all guns blazing once again. The first times are coming in here. MotoE Q1 in Barcelona. Jacopo Hosjuk at the moment, a 48.5. Finello, your second rider across the line, on a 48.737. But expect those times to continue to tumble right the way through this what is now just over 5.5 minute session remaining for Q1.
Yeah, the pitch of your voice is just about returned to normal after that first corner in race 1 in Hungary a couple of weeks ago, Kiko. But yeah, you're absolutely right. A couple of fast lap times coming in here. Jacopo Hosjuk going fastest at 48.5. Just for reference, Mattia Castellet in practice earlier today, the fastest off the lot, a 147.551. So we've still got a second or thereabouts out there on the track. And Andrea Mantovani keen to progress through this session, something he was not able to do in the last 2 occasions, actually. The last 2 times that we went out, in Hungary and the week before that in Austria. But good stuff from Mantovani. He's just been pushed out of the top 2 though.
He has, in third. The mad thing about Andrea Mantovani, I can't believe this, but I was double checking it before we came on air, he hasn't automatically got into Q2 all season. He's been in every single Q1 session, so he definitely likes burning tyres and Yeah, and Joe Mantovani, that extra track time has definitely at some points benefited him, but not all, and he's going to try and have to work this one out here in Barcelona as well, and hopefully by the time we go green again next time out, he won't need to go through Q1, but really a very, very tricky season for Andrea Mantovani as far as qualifying is concerned, but of course he's still in this title race. Across the line for Jacopo Hosjuk, that's a 48.294. Hosjuk earlier on today, what did he manage? He managed a 48.6, so that is 4/10 quicker than what he managed to do early on. Oh, yellow flags in sectors 3 and 4. Now, I presume that's at turn 10. We have a green light panel on the exit of turn 10, so that would suggest to me that someone has gone down. Oh, I thought it was one of the 658 riders, and it is Raffaele Fusco. You can see the airbag's gone off. He's not that big in real life. Good to see he's up on his feet. But yellow flags. Oh, and we've got Oscar Gutierrez down as well, have we? Has he followed him in? Or is that just a mistaken graphic, perhaps? Raffaele Fusco has definitely gone down. But what a shame. No, Oscar Gutierrez is up and okay. I think Oscar Gutierrez was passing the scene of the incident, and his lap has obviously gone away, and he's obviously not very happy with Tibor Varga trying to get a tow as well. But I can confirm Raffaele Fusco, the only crasher down there at turn 10.
Yeah, good to see him up and walking away. A little bit of frustration there for Oscar Gutierrez, because as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, he had 3 red sectors on that flying lap. Obviously, he then probably encountered the yellow flags down at turn 10, and that is a very forlorn-looking Italian trying to find, I think, maybe a lift or a way back into the paddock from there.
Yeah, he's obviously lost the front going in. And Raffaele Fusco, well, it's been far from a memorable rookie season on the Onguetta 658 Squadricorsa machine, and that is another one for the catalogue of troubles that he and that team in general in 2025 have had in MotoE. The yellow flags are still out down at sectors 3 and 4. You can see at the top of shot as well that the rider Fusco was just walking back, so he's going to go behind the barrier, and hopefully by the time he's behind there, the yellow flags will be in. But a lot of lap times being cancelled, and that leaves just 2.5 minutes to set your best lap time to go through to Q2.
Yeah, and 2 names that will be sweating will be Hector Garzo, currently in 8th, and Oscar Gutierrez in 7th. As it stands, they're at 14 seconds off the fastest time, and that is not an indication of just their lack of speed, but the fact that they have encountered those yellow flags, not being able to manage a clean lap time so far. Hector Garzo is intent on putting that right on this latest lap here.
The yellow flags are in as well, as you can see, so these laps will count because they're not quite in the crash zone just yet. Coming through sector 3, Gutierrez a 10th off, Tibor Eric Varga just over a 10th off, Hector Garzo just under 4/10 under the top time at the moment, so we're going to be in the 47s if he can hold that. Coming up through turn 12 now, Hector Garzo could really do with this. We're going to follow him round. This is the exit of turn 12. He's got a good amount of room to build into here. Tibor Eric Varga's no slouch either, so a good marker and some good pace and good space to build through. Turn 14 now, asking for the power, run it out over the curb, drive into the line. Is it going to be enough? Varga goes 3rd, but Garzo goes 1st, and that looks to have booked his provisional place into Q2, just over a quarter of a second ahead of Jacopo Hosjuk, the Romanian rider, who is the other rider who looks like he's going to be joining the reigning champion on the ascendancy towards the pole shootout.
Yeah, not bad stuff then from Hector Garzo. He's got half a second on hand over Oscar Gutierrez in 3rd position. Will that be enough, that lap time, to confirm a spot in Q2? You rather fancy it will. Gutierrez, though, is on another fast lap time. He is just 0.05 of a second off through split number 1. So I think number 99 of Oscar Gutierrez is who we have to keep our eyes on.
This is Alessio Finello coming through turns 13 and 14. He's 8/10 off. 3 completed sectors into this lap, and Gray, so it doesn't look like this is going to improve him, but he will get one more flying lap. Luca Bernardi sets a lap time. That puts him in 7th place. We pick up now Oscar Gutierrez, who's got Tibor Eric Varga, and then it is Hector Garzo, who's just in behind. So they are all 3 tied together. The clock is counting down. Garzo looking to see if he can make a move. Look at Mantovani as well. Mantovani is not out of this just yet as well. Well, we might be now half a second off at the 3rd checkpoint, but they come through turn 11 and up towards 12, and I think Tibor Eric Varga might just be getting in Garzo's way, but it doesn't matter at the moment because Garzo looks set to move through. Tommaso Occhi is the first rider to take the checkered flag. He's confirmed as 8th, so it looks like the Ongueta 658 squad, I said their catalogue of problems, 8th and 9th, that's last 2 places on the grid for Paolo Simoncelli's team. Driving to the line, does anyone improve? Gutierrez, just misses out, so it's 3rd for him. Varga improves lap time but goes 5th because Mantovani comes through but misses out, so Andrea Mantovani's 5th time in Q1 does not reward a 3rd graduation out of those 5 attempts. But it does mean that Hector Garzo and Jacopo Hosiuk for the 2nd round running, Neil, moves through to join the pole shootout with the already seeded 8 riders from today's practice.
Yeah, good stuff from Hosiuk, who is a bit of a coming force in MotoE this year. He was on course for his best result in Hungary in race 1 when he crashed out, unfortunately, of a spot inside the top 7. Looked as though maybe a first ever top 6 was on the board for him on that occasion, but he's done well here today. You just have to look at 2 of the names behind him, multiple MotoE race winners. Andrea Mantovani has it all to do from 12th on the grid tomorrow, and he will face an uphill task yet again to try and keep his name inside the title fight.
And he's going to have to do it twice as well, because we go lights out just after 12 o'clock and then the same again at 4. So Andrea Mantovani, of course, this grid sets the grid for both races, barring any penalties that come the way of any discrepancies from crimes committed by riders out there on track. But good move, good session for Hector Garzo. 48 there's time left in the locker. As you were saying, Neil, earlier on, the best lap time was a 47.5 for Mattia Casadei, so we're half a second off, but it doesn't matter because Garzo's leading the way and through.
Yeah, good stuff from Garzo, who did come through from 11th in the grid in Hungary to post a pair of top 7 finishes, 7th in race 1, 5th in race 2. He'll at least qualify 1 place higher here today as a result of going through into Q2. So good stuff from the number 1. And there is Jacopo Hosiuk, who is also going into Q2. Waves to the camera after a sterling performance. Hosiuk looking to build on 9th place, his best qualifying result in MotoE. That was achieved last time out.
You've got good odds on Hosiuk out qualifying Oscar Gutierrez here. Oscar Gutierrez, a winner here, of course, in Barcelona. No slouch at all. So Jacopo Hosiuk, decent level from the Romanian rider, and really, I don't think there was a lot expected of him ahead of 2025, but he's delivering over the last couple of rounds, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is. So keep an eye on him in the 10 minutes that are coming up. Good to see some fans have stuck around after MotoGP practice to keep track on this MotoE qualifying session. It's the 4th time that the MotoE World Championship has come to the circuit of Barcelona-Catalunya after 2021, 2023 and 2024. And I'm pretty sure on each occasion, Kiko, it has produced pretty exceptional racing. This is a real rider's track here, and the short MotoE races, shootouts, really do create some fantastic excitement, and we are set to have a pretty exceptional qualifying session coming up, judging by the practice session that we had earlier today.
We really are. It's going to be a close-fought contest, that is for certain. It's Hector Garzo, though, who leads the way ahead of Jacopo Hosiuk, moving through to Q2. Hosiuk outdoes his teammate Oscar Gutierrez, and not by a little bit either. That's just under 0.3 of a second between the 2 of them. So the number 12 has given the number 99 something to think about. Andrea Mantovani finds himself down in 4th in this session. That's a disaster for him. That's the back of the 4th row of the grid in 12th. Timo Erik Varga, welcome back to you in 13th place overall, 5th in this session, but ahead of Finello, Bernardi, Occhi and Fusco, who crashed. So the Ongueta 658 Squadra Corsa team with work to do overnight ahead of tomorrow's races. But Hector Garzo leads the charge into Q2 ahead of Jacopo Hosiuk. Surely, could one of them cause an upset? I wouldn't bet against it. Stay tuned. Q2 up next. There may be some dark clouds overhead here at the circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya, but don't worry, ahead of our commentary position I can tell you that it is nothing but blue sky, and there's a lot of it, so I think we're going to get away with this one here. Q2 for the FIM MotoE World Championship, not far away from firing into life. We have both races coming up tomorrow. Race 1 at lunchtime, race 2 at the very end of the day after the MotoGP Tissot Sprint. You're in the company of myself, Kiko Giles, Neil Morrison to my left, and down a long way in pit lane somewhere, Elliot York is gathering all the stories. But up here in commentary, so far we've had Q1, and it is Hector Garza and Jacopo Hosjuk who moves through. So the Spaniard and the Romanian joining the riders who are already through from Q1 from practice earlier today, making it a 10-rider shootout, and we've only got 10 minutes as well. We have a small delay that's due to an accident for Enea Bastianini at the end of MotoGP, and just giving a little bit more time for his bike to be recovered. But a 5-minute delay is nothing that we can't deal with. On the left-hand side, qualifying 2, Casadei, Granado, Ferrari, Spinelli, Zacconi, Zanoni, Torres and Baldassari are joined by Hector Garza and Jacopo Hosjuk. They are the 10 riders who are going to go for broke and go for pole here in Barcelona to conclude day 1 of track action for the Monster Energy Grand Prix of Catalonia. Everyone ready and waiting in pit lane then before 10 minutes of action gets underway. Neil, we've seen Garza and Hosjuk move through already, but who are the favourites that have already established themselves after this afternoon's practice session?
Well, I think you need to look out for former champion and double race winner last time out, the number 40 of Mattia Casadei, but he was given some stiff competition in practice earlier by the rider that was just on your screens there, Eric Granado, the Brazilian. Does like this Barcelona circuit, and was on the podium yet again in Hungary last time out. He had a solid weekend, the 4th GP of the MotoE World Championship this year, and still just about in the shout for the championship this year is Eric. So I think the 2 LCR riders will definitely be in the mix.
I think so too. Casadei is obviously your favourite, that's why he's championship leader, and you can't help but think if Eric Granado had a bit more luck on his side, he'd be a lot more, he'd be a lot closer and a lot more kind of in a rhythm, because he hasn't had a chance to get a rhythm. He's had a couple of falls and been pushed back at certain points in races. But unfortunately for the Brazilian rider, that crash in the opening round of the season when he crashed on his own and then was taken out by another bike coming in behind, it's just kind of rocked the boat a little bit. And into the second half of the season, yes, he's still in contention, but really Eric Granado is going to need to clear up the remainder of this season, and that's not something we've become accustomed to seeing, not because of Eric Granado, just the nature of MotoE. It's always a little bit random, and it's a little bit more equal than just pure dominance.
Yeah, as you said in your intro, 5 different winners this year, 11 different riders on the podium, 11 from a class of 18. That is pretty tremendous variety, you would have to say, so far. But if there is one rider that looks as though they can put a bit of a dominant stamp on affairs, it probably is Mattia Casadei after what we saw last time out. Right, Kiko, you would have to say his double victory in Hungary from pole position. Obviously, he had been there previously with World Supersport and was a little bit of an advantage over to some of the rest of the field in terms of track knowledge, but yeah, I think Casadei is just starting to find his rhythm, and if he starts well tomorrow, I think it could be a bit of an uphill fight for the rest of the riders.
He's had 4 podiums in 2025 and 2 poles, including last time out, so Mattia Casadei looking to make it back-to-back pole positions. The interesting thing as well with the title dynamics is that the rider in second place, Lorenzo Baldassari, yes, he's a rookie and has a lot of experience, but he hasn't won a race. Mattia Casadei has won 3, but dropped the ball a couple of times, but it's that ability to win when he needs to. Lorenzo Baldassari hasn't proven us that yet, but also it is his rookie season. He's still learning. So Baldassari in second place, 14 points adrift of Mattia Casadei. You wouldn't have had Balder as the absolute favourite for the title, I don't think, coming in, and neither would you still at this moment, but he is the closest rival to Casadei, and he's the one who's consistently there. Unfortunately for Andrea Mantovani, yes, he's only 1 point further adrift of Baldassarri and 15 behind Casadei, but when you're qualifying outside the top 10, Neil, that's something you can't do week in, week out in MotoE.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Just a reminder, we do have just 15 points covering the top 4 riders in the World Championship after 4 rounds. That is Casadei, Baldassarri second, 14 points back, and then Mantovani and Zacconi are third and fourth, tied 15 points back off the championship summit. So it is tight at the top, but if Casadei keeps that good run going, you feel he's going to put some real ground between himself and the rest with just 2 rounds remaining.
You really do, and Casadei will know that. Casadei has dropped the ball from the lead twice in 2025. He cannot do it again after all this hard work to get himself hauled back. It's in contention. The top 2 in the title are your 2 on screen at the moment, Casadei and then the number 7 of Lorenzo Baldassarri. We are already underway with Q2 here in MotoE, and less than 9 minutes remain. Everyone just on their outlap at the moment. Nicola Spinelli, who was on the podium last time, out in race 2 at Balaton Park, coming through turn 4. Kevin Zanoni, who had a bit of a disaster back in Austria, if you remember, in qualifying. He's in this one as well, along with Jordi Torres. It's getting all a little bit tight and unnecessarily tight down at turn 5. Pinch points on this circuit, Neil. Where have we got to be careful? Where are yellow flags always prone? And I'm mentioning yellow flags because that's where laps start to get cancelled and the grid starts to change shape.
Yeah, well, 2 trouble points on this circuit have historically been turn 5 and turn number 10 at the end of the back straight. We're coming through turn 9 as it stands down the back straight here, and this is turn 10 where we saw one of the 658 bikes of Pirelli Fusco crashing in Q1. This is a really tight left-hander taking at very low speed, and you're scrubbing off serious speed going into there. Very easy to tuck the front, so watch out for any mistakes going into there.
And of course, a reminder, if you go on the green like Alessandro Zacconi has done on his outlap, but if you go on the green in a timed lap, that means that lap gets scrubbed off. So don't be going anywhere near that green, otherwise well, you'll be finding yourself a little bit further down on the grid than you'd perhaps have liked.
Yeah, touching that green, the head will be in the clouds.
Oh, it really will, particularly in Barcelona anyway. Down in towards turn 1, Alessandro Zacconi is working his way through. Eric Granado moving through in towards turn 5. Now, I reckon Eric Granado is the rider who is furthest around this lap at the moment. So any yellow flags, Granado should be clear at least to get this banker in. Unless, of course, he is the one who causes the yellow flags. And it really mucks up everyone else's timed lap at the moment. But he's coming through turn 8. This is turn 9, top of the hill, late apex, and then drive it all the way out to the edge of the curb, back across the track and down into this really tricky downhill left-hander at turn 10. We've seen so many incidents across all the classes here throughout the years and already throughout Friday. Granado gets to its safety this time around up towards turn 12.
Yeah, great style. Eric Granado through turn 11 and 12. He's looking very quick indeed. The fastest lap time of the day so far, MotoE, 47.551. We have absolutely obliterated last year's lap record, by the way, by half a second. I wonder if we'll be able to go faster still here in this afternoon heat. Granado comes across the line. It is a 47.575 straight out, almost as fast as Mattia Casadei was able to do earlier today.
24 thousandths in it, and you know that Eric Granado might just have a little bit more in the locker. Casadei was out in the green, so this lap is going to go away from him. Couldn't quite see the state of Lorenzo Baldassarri, whether or not he exceeded track limits as well, but they're coming down the straight now, trying to keep it clean and get another lap time in. Casadei goes third and Balda second, but I'm fairly sure Casadei's lap time is going to go there. Zacconi moves up to the front row provisionally with one flying lap. You can see there Jacopo Hosjuk is just coming out down on the pit lane exit, so he's going to get a couple of laps after his first out lap, at least, to try and see what he can muster up here in MotoE qualifying 2. Down towards turn 1, Spinelli has gone into 7th place. This is Garzo. He's got no time set, but this is his first blind lap, and straight away aborts it in a little bit too deep down in towards turn 1, and this is down into turn 10, getting it all crossed up, under braking. Hector Garzo is not coming easy for the number 1, is it?
No, it certainly isn't. It's the second mistake from Hector down at turn 1 in, what, under a minute. And Garza will be having to leave it late to set a fast lap time in this session.
Silly old Hector. Coming through turn 4, down towards turn 5. As you can see, Garzo's lap time has been cancelled, so he's going to have to wait again to make anything out of this. So Garzo is really having it tough here in Barcelona, having already come through Q1. We're on board with Mattia Casadei. His lap time didn't get cancelled, so perhaps he wasn't on the green, and then perhaps just on the very extreme edge of the curb. But well, never mind. He's got Lorenzo Baldassarri stalking him through 11 and 12. Now, this could be a bit of a dress rehearsal for what we're going to see this weekend. These two have not locked horns in 2025 so far, but now they're top 2 in the championship. I wouldn't bet against it this time around. Lorenzo Baldassarri likes it round here, has good form round here from his Moto2 and World Supersport days, so don't bet against Balda trying to upset the apple cart a little bit and adding his name to the winners list. Casadei moves through for P3. No, sorry, into P4 because Baldassarri moves up to P3 as well. Zacconi's gone second. So everyone just saying those personal best laps, but it's not until the moment there for Zacconi. It's not until the last couple of minutes where we'll really start to see the grid form. And I tell you what, Jordi Torres, home hero, born just up the road in Ruby, he's moved up into second place here. So Jordi Torres, that is a fantastic effort from the rider who really hasn't had so much form in 2025, but he's turned on the coals now, middle of that front row provisionally.
Yeah, good stuff from Jordi Torres, who probably still thinks back to the second race here in 2023 when he crashed out of the lead with, I think, 1 lap to go. And with it, his championship chances evaporated almost 100%, not quite, but it was a definitive moment in that year's series that went on to Mattia Casadei in his favour. So Torres has shown speed around this track. He's never won here in MotoE before, but good stuff from him to go into second. You can see from the gaps at the top here that Eric Granado's fastest time really is going some. No one able to get within 3/10 of a second of the Brazilian, and he is on course to potentially go faster still. Could this be a lap record from Eric? Not quite on that particular occasion, but a 1:47.6, still comfortably faster than anyone else has gone in this session.
Yeah, Granado is still lapping quicker than everyone else, as you say, Neil, and 3.5 tenths more or less over Jordi Torres. That's going to fill the Brazilian with a lot of hope going into tomorrow's 2 races. We continue to track Casadei and Balda. Now, Balda's on a great lap here. What's this going to do? P2. Balda has nudged Casadei back to 4th there. So Baldassarri, good job there to get up onto the middle of that front row and get ahead of his main title quarry. Casadei back to 4th. Spinelli could do more damage and goes 5th, middle of the 2nd row for the number 29, who was on the podium, of course, just a couple of weeks ago at Peloton Park. So Spinelli going very, very well indeed on the Rubicon Snipers MotoE machine. Hector Garzo still without a lap time. Oh, he's just come across the line, goes 9th, and will only have one more stab at this one. So Garzo on a 56.5 as well. That is nothing to write home about. Hector Garzo is having a nightmare Q2 here in Barcelona.
Yeah, as you can see, just under 9 seconds slower than Granado. So Garzo has not been able to put a clean lap together at all in this session so far, and this will be his final effort of the session. So let's see what the number 1 can do. As it stands, it looks as though he's going to be 9th at best. We'll have to keep an eye on Jacopo Hosiuk, who is yet to set a competitive lap time.
Oh, what's happened here? Sector 3. This could be a bit of a nightmare for Hector Garzo. It looks like it's down at turn 7, and I can't quite see who it is. Is it Hosiuk? Oh, it's Zacconi. Alessandro Zacconi, who is in a danger zone, really, in P6. He could easily be nudged back a little bit more here. What a disaster, Alessandro Zacconi. And I tell you what, I bet that's a fairly swift off down towards turn 7 and 8, because that is coming downhill from turn 5. The kink at 6 and under braking, you could be doing well to get away with that one, but Zacconi is walking away at least. Let's see the state of the bike as we come down across the line again. Casadei and Balda are going to get another lap underway here. Whether or not they reach the yellow flag zone and this lap still counts remains to be seen. Nicola Spinelli is coming through turn 14 here and going to be coming to the line, and he's right there, but his lap time has been cancelled. That'll be for yellow flags. That is such a shame for Spinelli, who was looking to try and nudge Zacconi back another spot to P7. The checkered flag is being made ready in 3, 2, 1, and the checkered flag is out. This is everyone's last laps now.
Yeah, and let's see, the yellow flags look as though they have been withdrawn at turn number 7, which is good news for these riders here. Just keeping an eye on our timing screens, and pretty much everyone that has come through split number 1 on the last flying lap has set a red first sector, so this session is far from done.
This session is far from done. Wow, Spinelli bouncing up towards turn 4. Balder coming through and trying to see if he can make his way through on Mattia Casadei. Our yellow flag monitor is still saying it's active at the top of your screen, but on the graphic it was away. But I think the bike was still being treated at the side of the track. So for sure Casadei and Balder have rolled out of this one. I don't think we're going to have any change on that front row, but we'll keep an eye on it. Baldassarri bounces in towards turn 10. It loops back round. It's a double apex. For some reason it's counted as 2 corners. That's turn 11. This is up towards 12. Casadei, well, we'll get a nice little chance here to have a look at what Balder's all around. So the yellow flags are still out then. Our little graphic on our track map was a little bit wrong, perhaps a little bit ambitious to say the yellow flags are in, but it doesn't matter. These two are coming through. There's going to be no change. Granado has already taken the flag. It doesn't matter. We're on board with Casadei. Balder's going to cross the line. It doesn't matter at all. Balder second, Casadei fourth, Slipstream City, and is it perhaps something to keep an eye on tomorrow? Hector Garza, 56.5, not able to get a clean lap in, and you've got to say that from the reigning champion Hector Garza, that is perhaps not the best way to go back to Barcelona, and really to leave it that late in the first place is not the smartest of things to do. But he's found himself at the head of the 4th row now. What a disaster.
Yeah, disaster for the number 1. Never got going in that Q2 session, and when he did, just could not string a clean lap together. But it is pole position for this rider here, his first pole position of 2025. Brazil is back on top. Eric Granado.
Brazil is back on top. Sorry, Neil. 4th pole sitter of 2025, but it's Granado's 3rd in Barcelona. So, track specialist.
Yeah, he does like this spot, does Eric. And it is the 4th time from 5 that Eric has qualified on the front row in 2025. So that gives an indication toward his strength so far this season. The only time he was off it was when he was making comeback from that horrible